most recent attempt came from Ridley Scott in the film Exodus. If we ignore all the connection to God in the Bible, what we have here is actually a pretty interesting film case study. Looking at this effect through the years can show us the evolution of visual effects and of film itself. So, let's take a look at the parting of the sea through the years. I'm sure you are familiar with this story, but I will run through it quickly just in case. Moses brings his recently freed people to the edge of the Red Sea. They are being chased by the Pharaoh Ramses and his men. Moses uses the power of God to part the sea, and the Jews walk through it unharmed. However, when Ramses' men try to walk through, the sea falls back in on itself and they get washed away. Let's begin with the Ten Commandments, released 1923 and was produced and directed by Cecil B. DeMille. In this particular film, Moses is played by Theodore Roberts. So let's look at our first shot, which shows the separation of the sea. This is actually a reverse shot. The water was poured in from both sides of a close-up model and reversed to make it appear as if the water separated. Now, the shot where the walls of the water were separated and the slaves walked through was actually a double exposure of two different shots. The first is of two very large slabs of jello, filmed close up with a little water sprinkling off them. The second is a large group of actors walking through Seal Beach in California. When both images are combined, it creates this shot. The same effect was used when the sea falls back in on itself, except of course the water is not being reversed this time. A very simple rudimentary example of visual effects in the early 1920s. It may not hold up very well now, but at the time people were understandably astonished by it. Now, let's jump forward 33 years to the 1956 remake of The Ten Commandments starring Charlton Heston. This effect is hailed as one of the greatest pre-CGI visual effects of all time. This film was also produced and directed by Cecil B. DeMille and is commonly considered the better film of the two. So let's take a look at the shot. This was achieved by a method not too dissimilar to the 1923 version, although it was a combination of many more shots. There was a huge trough built in Paramount Studios, and the water was filmed as it was sent rushing down it. And of course, the film was reversed to create the opening of the sea. To create the walls of the sea, they shot sideways footage of the water rushing down on itself, which made a backwash. All these shots were combined along with Moses and his people and the dark clouds to create this spectacular shot. In 1974, there was a mini-series called Moses the Lawgiver. The parting Red Sea, however, was quite forgettable in this. It used the reversed